Morning, folks. How's it going? If you're out there, say hello. Tell me that you're out there. I can usually tell. I have to go over somewhere else to look. Let's see. A lot easier if you just said, "Hey, Ernie, how you doing?" Diane, Les, how you doing? It's a wonderful morning. All right, we have a few people on. Got about 10 people right now, I guess. 12. That's good. Swapnil, how you doing? I'm feeling marginally better. Just marginally. I feel okay. It's just that it's just overwhelmed with fluid. Won't stop. That's how it started, too. My right eye just started watering, and it was just tearing like a little faucet was turned on. And just won't stop. But today we're going to go over the probability of touch and the difference between the probability of touch and the probability of profit or probability of in the money. And not a lot of people talk about probability of touch. I'm not sure why. And why they talk about probability of in the money is really beyond me, because it's almost like a useless statistic. So let's, and I'm going to do a little iPad session here too. But the first thing I want to do is to go over the options chain, and so that we can take a look at that. And so I'm going to move us over there. We can move that down here. So there are a lot of ways that you can look at the options chain in TOS. I'm sure in other platforms you can change the values in the columns. With TOS, you do it up here where it says layout. And they have some predefined ones, and you can create your own custom ones. If you remember yesterday, I created the probability of touching delta, gamma, theta, vega one, which was based on delta, gamma, theta, vega. Although I don't really see why you really need theta and vega for the most part. But anyways, let's take a look at the difference between delta and probability of touch. Now, delta in a lot of ways can be thought of as the odds of a probability of being in the money. And probability of in the money, what that really means is that, let's see, I'll just go back to my face here for a second. So probability of in the money is all about where the option is going to be at expiration. And in the money means that you'll be profitable by at least 1 penny. It could be 1 penny, it could be $10, it could be anything in between, but it can't be less than 1 penny. So, but the probability, though, is geared on that 1 penny. So it's the probability of being just about in the money. So it's a real misnomer when you think that you're choosing a 95% probability of profit thing when and you think, oh, I got 95% probability of making a max win or something like that. But it's not. It's a 95% probability of making a penny. So keep that in mind. It's really kind of a, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's a nothing statistic. It's the worst thing I can think of to base your trading on. Yet this is what everybody does. So from a statistical point of view, let's say that a delta represents the probability of loss, right? So if you have a 5 delta, that means that you have a 5% chance of losing money. If you have a 10 delta, it's a 10% chance. If you have a 30 delta, it's a 30% chance of losing money. And delta is usually put in terms of decimals, so it would be 0.30, and that would be a 30 delta. And what that really means is that when the underlying moves $1, your option value moves 30 cents. That's all that means. But it is also a good correlation to probability of profit. At expiration, at least 1 penny. Now, probability of touch is very different. That is the probability that you're going to touch that strike anytime between now and expiration. And it's generally double what the probability of in the money is. So if you have a 35 delta, then your probability of touching that strike on that strike that has the 35 delta is double that, or about 70%. Now, we could use this as a way to sort of gauge what is our probability of getting into the butterfly between now and expiration. Now, it could be any time. So, of course, we would most likely want to be later in the day, but we can't control that. All you can do is say, hey, it's probably going to be in there with these kind of odds sometime during the day. But it's still a good measure, and it will help you gauge, where you should be outside of when you take that trade. If you're putting on a trade and the probability of touch is, like 15%, that's a tough nut, and it's 15% on the outside leg. If it was 15% of the center strikes, that could be different. So what you need to do is you need to measure the probability of touch for each of the legs of your strategy, and then make your determination there about where you want to be. So let's take a look at that. So this is today's options chain. I had said earlier that I thought that 3,900 would likely be our ending point for the day, very similar to yesterday. There really isn't any information out there. There are no new catalysts or energies coming into the market. There were no economic reports. Most of the overseas and news stuff was generally negative. So it did rise a little bit during the Globex session or the overnight session. So I would expect it then to kind of give that back. I'm not sure why it rose. I think there was some news about China cutting interest rates, which I find kind of interesting, because if China is cutting interest rates, that means that they're admitting that their economy is suffering, and they need to implement some kind of quantitative easing. But from an investor's point of view, they're looking at it as cheaper money, or a cheaper way to get into the assets there. But in reality, it means that they are bracing for what they believe is going to be something big, because they never cut interest rates, or hardly ever. They would rather lie about what everything is, and produce fake numbers. But when they actually cut rates, to me, that raises a red flag, and no pun intended. But it raises a red flag that, there's some serious problems over there. So anyways, for whatever reason, the market interprets that as good, and so the market went up a little bit. And I think that once the U.S. market opened, it gave most of that back. And we can see that here. Oh, it gave all of it back. Let's go to 30 minutes. So here's where we closed, right about here. We went up, touched the LVN, or just about touched it, and then when the market opened here at 9:30, just gave it all back. So, and as I said, I think that 3,900 is going to be our target for the day. So I'm going to draw a rectangle right there. I'm going to say that 3,900 right there is our target today. That's where I think that we're going to end up, right about there. All right, now if we're going to create a strategy, let's say that we think that we're going to end up right here, or maybe we think that there's still a little bit more bearishness in here, and that we're going to overshoot this, and perhaps we're going to instead end up close to this LVN. So maybe this is the alternative target. Oh, why am I having a hard time grabbing this? So this might be the alternative target, where this LVN at 38.65 is the actual resting place. So those would be my two targets for today, I think. Well, let's calculate, what would be a good place to put a strategy here. So we'll do that. We'll go back to think a swim at 3,900. New visitor. Well, I already put a trade on there. You can take a look at that. Here's a trade that I already have on. I didn't take this trade. I'm just saying it's a trade that I already staged. And let's see, price is right about here right now. So we would want to know what's the probability of touch to get to the center strike at 3,900. And right now the delta on that is 42. So that means that the probability of touch is about double that, and you can see that right here. It's about 85%. So there's an 85% chance. That's what it's saying is there's an 85% chance that between now and the end of the day, we're going to touch that price. Now, that could happen in the next 5 seconds or the next 5 hours. That's all it's saying is in that period of time, 85% chance that we're going to touch that. Now, the other target that we have down here at 38.65, let's take a look at that, and we'll put a strategy there. Because it's further away, we can do a little bit more analysis. But 38.65, and we'll create a butterfly. We'll make this 25 wide. So that means 38.40 and 38.90. Right, so it would cost us $2.70. We can see right now that the short strike has a delta of 20, so there's a 40% chance that we would reach, and those are actually pretty good odds, So it's basically saying 40% chance that we would pin this trade today, or at least get to it by the end of the day. I would say that if there's a 40% chance to get to it, it's probably going to be later on in the day because it's going to take some time to work its way down there. And if we were to take a look at the individual strikes at 90, 38.90, there's a 68%, or let's say 70% chance that we would get to the short strike. I'm sorry, the long strike. Now that's good to know. And the reason why it's good to know is that, that we can profit anywhere in between the long strike and the short strike. So we have get rid of that. So there's about a 70% chance that we would get to here. Now, if we were to get to here right now, if we were to take this trade, and what it's saying is that there's a 70% chance that we would get to here. That means that there's a 70% chance that we're going to make at least $100, $110. That's if it got there right now. If it got there in another hour, it might be $125. So those are pretty good odds. Not bad odds. To get to the center strike, let's go back to the chain, 38.65, still about a 35-40% chance to get to the center strike. All right, and the center strike, though, right now, obviously getting there right now is not probably a proposition but getting there right now would get you about $150. So there's more than likely it would take a couple of hours to get there. That's what I'm thinking, but it could get there in 5 minutes. Who knows? But let's say in a couple of hours, if you got there, that trade's going to be worth probably about $200. Again, not a bad deal. 40% chance to make $200. Now, I think that those odds are off because they're factoring in the possibility of us going up or down. All right? And I think that right now this market has a far greater chance of going down than going up. So while you can say that this is 70% right here, I would say that that's probably closer to 80 or 85% probability, maybe even 90% in my book. Given the fact that there's very little chance that we're going to be going up. Given the current market conditions, the volume profile, the structure, all of that. So that's a different way of looking at it, right? So if we were to take a look at our situation here. So we're saying that there's a much higher likelihood that we're going to end up between these two boxes than we are to come all the way up back to this LVN way up here. Now, does that mean it can't happen? No. But I think that already the market has sort of given its direction. Now, I would want to wait probably, and somebody asked, if I was going to take a trade early, and I said, no, I prefer to wait until later morning. I think that, by 11 o'clock or so, if we're still down here, the odds of us getting back up here are very small. I think that the market has probably chosen its place where it wants to go. And I think that that's going to either be at this target at 3,900 or this one here at 38.65. So hopefully you have that difference between probability of profit and probability of touch. So now you can take a look at all the different strikes and see what their probabilities are from there. You can add your bias in there and maybe add another 10%. And that will give you where you could realistically put a strategy to make some money. So for instance, if I wanted to know, what it would take to get into here, what are the odds of me getting to 3880? The odds of getting to 3880, looks like about a 57% odds of getting in there sometime today. So I'm going to say that that's probably closer to 65, 70%, given that we don't think that it's going to reverse on us today. And we've already entered or gone below. Once we go below the T0, that'll increase our odds dramatically. Once we enter into this area, then it should move very quickly to this LVN. While it's here, I think it's going to be attracted to the center of this value node, and particularly where we ended up last night at 3,900, there's really a strong pull there in many different time frames. So there's a good chance that we're going to stick around here and have a hard time, perhaps go up to the top of this T0, but more than likely make your way down further. All right. Hey, Ernie, can you simulate the odds to touch a higher price like 39.50? Well, of course you can. So just go to the options chain, take a look at 39.50, and you can see that the delta on a 39.50 is 20, so the probability of touch is about 40%. I'm going to say that the odds are actually quite a bit lower than that, because if we take a look at the 39.50, that's this LVN. That would mean that we would have to reverse up and get out of this T0. That's a tall order. That's really a tall order. It couldn't do it all day yesterday. It tried and just kept on falling back in. Now we've already moved down pretty hard. And I see that as not even a 40%. It's probably more like a 20%er. But at least from the normal distribution standard statistical model, it's giving it about a 40% chance of touching that. I think that it's quite a bit lower. All right. So hopefully this provides some insight on how you can use probability of touch. I think probability of touch, along with your expected move, can at least give you an idea. Do not peg all your hopes and dreams on expected move. It's hardly ever right in any one day. It's a statistical average. It really has little to do with today. Well, I mean, that's not entirely true, but it's hardly ever really right. It seems that over the past several weeks that the expected move has been blown away hugely almost every day. There's only been maybe 1 or 2 days where it met the expected move or came under it for the day. I'm not even sure if it came under it at all in the past few weeks. It may have been 1 day. So, only use these things as sort of guides and an idea that would put you in the ballpark. Don't think that you're going to use expected move or probability of touch as some sort of determining factor, that it has to be there. That's where it's going to be because those are the odds. Remember, odds are nothing more than averages. It's a calculated average over a number of different occurrences. It really doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen today. And for you to trade based on probabilities, it's okay to use that as sort of your backdrop, your landscape, and say, I want to be in the ballpark. But I don't think it's okay to peg all your trades to the odds, because it's very rare that you actually hit the odds. You hit them on the head. It's very rare. It's usually way above, way below, a little bit above, a little bit below, every once in a while right on it. It's kind of like the same thing with, hitting a short strike or pinning a trade. Sure, you could get into the butterfly and there might be relatively high odds, but actually hitting the short strike, those are much smaller. So using the statistical odds, I think, is a huge mistake. You really need to use your analytical powers and try to get into the ballpark with the odds, and then use your knowledge of volume profile, support, resistance, behavior when it crosses those various barriers to give yourself a much better chance of predicting where price is likely to go. How are you getting the blue volume node in TOS? So the blue volume node, blue is just a color that I choose in TOS. I wasn't in TOS. I wasn't showing any blue volume node in TOS. I was showing Trading View. That's right, Julie. It was Trading View. I wouldn't be using TOS for your volume profile. I would really recommend against it, because it's not going to give you the correct information, and it's clunky. It's hard to use, and sometimes it won't even show you what is actual and how it lines up with price. So don't use volume profile in TOS. It's a big mistake. Get Trading View or some other volume profile implementation. Like Ninja has a very good volume profile implementation. Sierra Charts also has one, but Sierra Charts is so damn confusing and complicated, but it's still a halfway decent implementation. But Ninja Charts, you can get it there. But, the best way to go here, in my view, is to, if you can, and if it's supported in your locality, get TOS. Tastyworks is okay. They don't have volume profile, though, so you still need the Trading View. Trading View, by far, is the best. TOS is good as a trading platform. So those would be my two recommended platform tools to use: TOS and Trading View, or Trading View and just about any other options platform. Some of the biggies are Thinkorswim, Tastyworks, Interactive Broker. Interactive Broker is also very good, but takes a little bit of work to really understand the platform, because it's confusing as hell, because it's grown over the years and they never seem to totally redo it. They just keep on adding on to it, making it kind of a hairball. But it's still a good tool if you know how to use it. All right. Any other questions? Nope. Okay. So you got my two picks for today, 3,900 and 3,865. I think those are the two most likely places that we're going to land. Let's see what happens. I'm going to wait for a little while, maybe until about 11 o'clock, 11:30, to see how this market shakes out. If we move to the top of T0, I'll probably put on a trade. Either one, 3,900 or maybe right in between the two. I don't know. But I might look at what the probability of touch is, and if I can get a wide enough trade, I might move it down a little bit further, because I think that there's a good chance for us to move all the way down to the LVN today. All right. That's all I've got to say for today. I want to thank you very much for joining me. Hope I get decongested. I have some antihistamine and stuff like that I don't like taking the drugs, though. Anyways, peace to you all. See you out there on the Discord. Oh, question. So about 11 p.m.
Returning visitor.
Pacific Standard Time, we put the tray. Where are you getting 11 a.m.? I'm on the East Coast. Just so you know, I'm on the East Coast. So any time that I quote here is always East Coast time, the same time as the New York Stock Exchange. So, yeah, I'll never refer to any other time zone. Elderberry, all right. It's not allergies. I had some kind of flu thing from last week, and now it's hanging over, and it won't let go of me. And which is very unusual. I never get sick. I had COVID last year, but before that, I haven't had a cold or anything for more than 20 years. So, anyways, thank you. Peace again. Peace out. We'll see you.